So while I'm in the mood for pruning, I might just take the top off of this olive here. So it's getting a bit big. And I use a little bit of alcohol just to sterilise the secateurs. These really need a good clean. This is just an isopropanol spray made for computer tape heads and things. It leaves no residue, so it's just pure alcohol. So let's get the top off of this. Now there's nothing flowering above there. Nothing flowering above there. And there's some flowers on the branches above that. So I'm just going to take this down to here, I think. Like that. And some people like to use a sort of resin to seal the cut. The jury's out on this as to whether it's really necessary. I've just got it on my hand. It's a resin dissolved in methylated spirit. It comes under various brand names, but this one's Arbrex. And the idea is that you try and get it to run down the bottle. I've already dipped this in hot water, which makes it a little bit more liquid. And the idea is you just put a blob of it on the end. And that eventually dries out, and probably the alcohol in it keeps it a little bit more sterile than it would have otherwise been. So that's the general idea with things that are larger and woodier. I wouldn't bother with small, thin growth. The cherries have been putting on a lot of spindly growth, and I should have really pruned this back before now. What Thomas Rivers recommended was that they should be pruned back. Once they've made about 5 leaves on a new shoot, they should be pruned back to about 3. And I think that that means ignoring any twin pairs that are close in about and just going to 3 major nodes. And because this is already quite a tall tree, I'm going to go in fairly close with that. That's leaving a bud there. Difficult to see that. And similarly on that one in there. 1, 2, 3. Somewhere in there. And again, one at the back, 2, 3. Oops. Go for that. What else have we got? Got a strong branch there. 1, 2, 3. Now I don't really want this to get much higher, so I'm just going to crop that to there. Again, that's 3, but it's a short 3. What have we got here? I'll take that back to there. So that's quite close to the top of that. Reduce that, reduce this one here. It's difficult to film this and prune. But anyway, you get the idea. that's fairly ruthlessly pruning this back, and it'll start to look like the whole thing's in a slightly better shape as well once I get going with this. Take this off in here. 1, 2, 3. Good enough. So if I can move this fig out of the way, you'll start to get the idea. Trying to shape this a little bit. Now this cherry here is a bit of a disaster because they were probably too big when I got them. They were too tall and all the growth was at the top of the plant, top of the bush rather, and all that's happened is that the growth has just gone up and up and up. And this is really not a very desirable shape at all. And the branches further down have died back and gone totally dormant. Now whether there's any buds that could come back to life if it was pruned severely, I don't know. So I need to make a decision probably come autumn about this. Because all that's happening is that all the energy of the plant is just going into shooting up large amounts of growth in the wrong place. We really could have done with some growth closer to the main stem and tried to make a sort of dwarf pyramid out of it, but that's just not happened. One thing that you can do, which I've no experience in, is you can cut out a bud from a branch and transplant a bud onto the main stem. Whether that would work with a cherry, I don't know, because they also are very prone to oozing gum out of any wound, and they don't like being wounded at all. But temporarily I'm just going to cut this back quite severely and we'll just get rid of all this major growth. I'm just going to take this right back to about 3 nodes roughly. Can't really see what I'm doing there. Oops. And again, take this back. Take all this high stuff back. I'm going to have to move it to get in near the back. The branch there, I'll leave that at 3. There's one up the back there, I'll cut that to about 3. So I'll have to get something to stand on and get these ones up at the back. But this is probably going to be a candidate for doing something much more severe with either trying to transplant other buds onto the main stem or chop the main stem brutally come winter and then try and see if dormant buds would regrow for next year. So I pruned this one back to about 3 buds on the new growth, and that's looking more compact, although it's still nothing like as compact as ideally might have liked. And pruning the Morello back to 3 buds. Again, some of it's gone a wee bit too long, but it's just a matter of spotting a new growth and nipping that back to about 3 buds. This will look better in a few weeks once the cherries that have decided to drop have dropped, and the ones that are going to grow will start to grow and colour up. And then I'll move on to the apples. Prune some of these apples. And here's our visitor. Excuse me, little visitor in there. you can take your chances in the compost out in the wild. And that's what I've been trimming off the cherries. It always seems such a shame to have to take so much growth that's been so hard won off of them. But needs must, I suppose. So that's these two cherries pruned back to 3 buds, and at least they're looking a bit more presentable. A little bit straggly down near the base, but at least they're now a little bit tidier and more presentable.